Recording in progress.
Mics are on. You all set, Perry? Yep. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the September 8th, 2021 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. We have a fairly long agenda tonight, starting with a notice of intent, which was continued from 2 meetings ago. And this project location is 138 Martin Street. The applicant is Chanto Mo, and it's a application to construct an addition to his home within the 100-year floodplain. This project doesn't have a number yet, and there is some extra information that's going to be submitted before we discuss it again. So this is going to be continued to our next meeting, and we'll see how ready we are at that point. So,
Do I need to offer a motion? Or can we just do this?
I don't know, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'll offer a motion to continue this notice of intent to the September 22nd meeting at the request of the applicant.
Okay, motion made,
I'll second that.
seconded by Perry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that will be so. Moving on to new business. The first is a request for determination of applicability submitted by James Hevner, 744 Varnum Avenue. This is a request to construct an above-ground pool, and the resource is the 100-year floodplain, and there's also within 100 feet of, I believe, the clay pit brook. Perhaps not, but anyway, it is in a resource, and the Hevners are here. Would you like to approach the microphone and tell us what you'd like to do?
On the outside of our patio. I did bring some pictures if the commission wanted to take a look at what it looked like, if they wanted to see them as well. And what we'd like to do is, it's a pool that would have approximately 10,000 gallons of chlorinated water in it. It would be fed and powered with electricity that would be underground, meeting all codes, all residential codes that are required. And it would be used by the family. The yard is fully fenced in with security coming out of the house that allows for any sort of, to meet code for if anyone were to leave the house into the fenced yard.
Okay, so this is a 21-foot pool, you said?
Yes, and I have a picture of it if you'd want to see it.
Oh, yeah. You want to see it?
No, I'm good. I got a couple questions when you're ready.
All right, go ahead.
So this brings me back to my youth. I remember the above-ground pools. And the only question I have, can you hear me first of all through this?
What's that?
Can you hear me through the
Yes,
mask?
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Generally, you know, you do within the footprint of the pool, they'll excavate out, you know, the perimeter, remove the topsoil, then put a sand layer, and then, you know, put the frame of the pool and the liner down underneath. Do you have a sense of at what depth, you know, the liner is going to be? Is it going to be at grade? Is the sand going to come up basically to grade and then the pool above it, or is it going to go into below grade.
It's a relatively, it's a flat yard.
Yeah.
So I'm told that it would be, they'd be taking off the upper layer of the grass that's there now.
Yeah.
And then they would be putting a sand base on top, and then the liner in the pool would sit on top of it.
right.
I'm told that they go down no more than, based on how level it is, it wouldn't be any more than 6 inches.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is, that was my sense, it was gonna be pretty much level, and, you know, this is, the resource that we're protecting is the floodplain, so.
Yes.
Obviously, you know, we don't want any cutting or filling, that, you know, we want it to kind of be neutral, and it sounds like that's, you know, the case, given the topography of your yard and the fact that you're replacing topsoil with sand and then building the pool around it.
Right.
and- Okay,
That's exactly what the project would entail.
all right, thank you, that's it.
Yep, thank you.
Is there a deck associated with this pool?
52 inches. 52 inches is the anticipated depth.
Attached to the pool or attached to the house?
Oh, deck, no, I'm sorry, I apologize, my hearing. No, there's a ladder right now that would be used, that has security on it, and that you can lock it down, that would be using. The deck, we haven't looked at this time. Right now, we intend to put the pool, and, on the pictures, that would almost abut the patio within a couple feet of it, so that the ladder would actually touch onto the patio, so people could go in without having to walk on the grass. I don't have any plans for a deck at this time.
Okay, and you said it was 20 feet from the house?
It's approximately 20, the
Yeah.
patio is 16
It-
feet from the house, and I'm looking based on it, and it would be up to the installers of doing it about 2 feet past that, so it's about 18 to 20 feet, I figure. And that would give me clearance behind, of meeting code to my neighbor's property line as well.
Okay. All right, well, you know, we did have a set of comments that emphasized the point that we almost consider this, you know, a removable object.
Yes.
Not easily, but as far as being something that's added to the floodplain, you know, if the floodwaters come, I think they will remove this object probably for you, but
Yes,
right
absolutely.
now,
Yeah. We've been there since 2001, so we went through the 2000, the Mother's Day flood. That was the one
you know where
time.
the water line is, right?
What's that?
You know where the water line is.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we took about 18 inches of water in our house that day. And, but I think the city's done a good job of managing the waterways, with the Brook, and also even what they did with the flashboards with the bladder system. So it's, you know what, I keep close eye on the water levels of the river, and they very well managed now, so I don't get too worried about it, thankfully.
Well, Perry, anything?
No, I think like as pools go that we've approved, this is actually probably one of the better ones anyway. So I think I don't see any problem with this project.
Weston?
I agree with
Thoughts?
Perry. It's a good project, I think. Yeah. Temporary pool, why not?
Okay, if we have a motion then on this?
I'll offer a motion to issue a -3 determination for this project.
I'll second. Ed?
What that means is that it's within the resource area, but it's not something that's going to negatively impact the resource, at least not permanently or not significantly so much that we would have to say you couldn't do it. So we have approved some pools within the resource, within certain length from the resource, and let's have a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, so 4 ayes, that's approved, and the office will have the paperwork for you within a couple of days, I think.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Gonna get
for
it in
coming
before the end of the summer?
That's the goal, like, that we have 3 teenagers, so, they're intent on getting to swim in, so
Nice.
depends on Rogers Pool what they give us, but
Well,
you know
good luck with it.
teenagers.
Yeah, good
Nice.
luck, have fun.
It won't be me, and it won't be. Thank you again for your time. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Let's see, next we have a notice of intent. The City of Lowell, DEP file number 2060807. And this is the Beaver Street Bridge over Beaver Brook. And they're wanting to replace the bridge, not completely, but there are several resource areas there. Seeing as it's a brook, there's a bank, land underwater, a waterway, bordering land subject to flooding, and a riverfront area. Is there somebody here from the City of Lowell that's going to present this?
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm actually Bob Nikolai from TEC. I'm not with the City of Lowell, but I'm presenting the project on the city's behalf.
Okay,
We can hear you.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Got a good picture here.
Oh, good. My Golden Gate Bridge in the background there. So just as many of you are probably aware of this bridge has been closed now for some time. MassDOT, as part of their work, inspects bridges throughout the Commonwealth, whether they're owned by the city or the state. So this project, about a year and a half ago, Mass DOT did an inspection on the bridge and found kind of some severe deterioration underneath in the steel superstructure. So at that point, DOT recommended a bridge closure, which the city did. Prior to that, my company TEC, we were working on a superstructure replacement. Obviously, the closure, tried to accelerate our project as best it could, but lack of capital kind of put this on the back burner until now. So that's why we're in front of you today, requesting an order of conditions for the replacement of the superstructure of this bridge. I can give you a little bit of history on it without diving too deep. We've been working with the City of Lowell on this project since about 2013, doing different alternatives analysis, looking at the most cost-effective solution to remedy this bridge. And what we came up with was a superstructure replacement. So in that case, what we would do is, in this case, what we're going to do is keep the substructure in place as it is. The concrete of the substructure is still in pretty good condition given its age. There are some minor surface level repairs that we will make as part of this project, but overall the concrete substructure is in good sound condition. The question is, this is supported on timber piles. There's really no way for us to view the timber piles without an extensive excavation effort, where we'd have to kind of block off the river, excavate down to the abutment, below the abutment even, temporary sheeting, all sorts of work just to verify the condition of the piles. So if we get down there and we see, oh, they're in bad condition, we have to fix them. The good news is there is no signs that there's anything structurally wrong with the piles. The current abutments show no sign of distress, no sign of rotation, no sign of settlement. So those are all good indicators. However, given the unknowns, we did try to come up with a solution that addresses if the piles are in bad shape ahead of time. So what we're doing with our micropile work is we're actually keeping the substructure where it is. We'll drill from the grade level, from roadway level down through the abutment, drop in a drilled micropile, and then grout that micropile to the abutments. So essentially, we'll be completely unloading those timber piles. So we don't have to do an extensive digging effort to check to see if those piles are still in good shape. We can kind of, it's a belt and suspenders approach, I think is kind of the best way to describe it. But those piles will be unloaded by our supplemental micropiles. So again, this solution offers a lot of advantages when it comes to resource area disturbance, as I'm sure you're seeing up downstream at the VFW bridge that they're working on now. That's like a full replacement, so that's definitely more extensive of substructure work, digging out the existing substructure, control of water, dredging, all to put down a new substructure. Whereas here, we're keeping the substructure as it is and simply replacing the superstructure. The proposed superstructure is a prefabricated prefabricated truss structure. So it'll come to the site as two big pieces. They'll get dropped into place and then floor beams placed throughout the length. I'm trying to think if there is anything else I wanted to mention off the top. In terms of the roadway width is shrinking a little bit. What we're doing is actually we're replacing the main traffic carrying bridge, and then off to the side we're going to have a utility bridge / pedestrian bridge. So there'll be kind of two separate structures as part of this, but the overall width will still stay the same. That utility ped bridge will be founded on the same abutment that the existing bridge is. It's the abutment's long enough that we can put the traffic carrying bridge and the ped bridge on the same foundation, same substructure. So we'll be doing that as part of the work as well. Installing crosswalks, more pedestrian safety features, more compliant traffic safety features with current standards. I don't think if there's anything. Oh, the grid, the deck of the structure will be still an open grid type deck. We're not replacing it with a concrete deck. We're keeping it as an open grid deck for flooding concerns. But everything will be, all the steel will be galvanized and painted. Again, a kind of a belt and suspenders approach to make sure that we're not running into this same problem with durability 25 years down the road. With a galvanized and painted structure, you get a lot of longevity out of those. So I think that's all I wanted to say off the top. Sorry for rambling so much. But at this point, I'd open it up for questions.
Okay, I had a question as I was reading the documents about the micro piles. You said the piles were wooden. If you drill that micro pile down the middle of it, does that run the chance of having the wooden pile become, more degraded by the process?
There's that chance, yes, but like I said, once these micro piles are in, they have enough strength to carry everything themselves. So if the wood piles are gone, these supplemental micro piles still have the strength to carry.
Even though they're called the micro, they're still strong enough to do the job without the wooden pile? Yeah.
Yes. It's a structural steel rod surrounded by a high-strength grout, surrounded by a steel casing. So it is a pretty robust pile.
And I also wondered about your methodology. We've had bridges replaced where they have a barge underneath somehow that catches a lot of debris. Is that something that's going to be happening in this project?
Most likely, that would be something we call means and methods that kind of is left up to the contractor. For most concrete deck bridges, you need to kind of just chip them out with a hammer, and that's where you put the barge underneath the water and catch everything in the barge. Here we actually, it's all steel superstructure. So the contractor may elect to stay out of the brook completely and simply cut pieces and then just pick them up and grab them. Or they may, want to put a barge in the water to catch and just kind of knock everything into the water. Either way, we have in our specifications that no piece of the bridge shall enter the water. And if it does, it needs to be removed immediately.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
I think it's a good project to finally get put into place. I know a lot of
I have
people.
questions. I'm a person that lives near there. I don't know when this comes up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
So, I live on Beaver Street, and I've been dealing with all that noise from the bridge behind and all the shaking of my home. So, will I have to deal with any of that shaking at my house? I'm 2 houses away.
There will be some construction, general of, machines running, of things like that. That part's kind of unavoidable. The main shaking you probably felt was from driving piles or
Oh,
driving.
so I back there. I talked to the chief, the engineer. It was from piles, and piles didn't bother me as much as the roller and then the drilling. And so wow, this has been a lot. So I want that bridge open, but I don't want any structural damage to my home.
Understandable, definitely understandable. The micro piles that we're putting in, I want to give you good news. Those are not driven; they're drilled. So that's a much, there will still be a machine doing the drilling, but you're not getting that bang, bang, bang of the.
Right. Well, drilling still bothered as well. I mean, I can't tell you how much shaking. I'm retired. Oh, thank you very much. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, my Lord. So, I just worry about structural. Everyone has to put up with stuff, understandable. Structural damage is all I care about.
Understood. And when I say drilling, I should be a little bit more precise. The drilling you were experiencing while they were doing the VFW highway was probably like concrete drilling, where they're chipping away concrete. That causes a lot of noise, a lot of vibrations. We're doing very, very little of that on this project. Only minor areas at the substructure that may be a day or two.
Yeah, the engineer that was over there was very nice. He even took me back there and told me it would be, but I want to talk to the person who's actually doing the job or whatever. And so another question is that, I don't understand this. Are you going to damage anything or change the wall, anything that has to do with what they've done for us for the flood protection?
No, we are not touching any of the flood protection systems that are out there.
And I'm sorry, it's just, you look at 2,500 feet, 100 feet. I don't know anything about that, sir. So, and then how are you going to do all this on our street, considering it's so small? Is most of it, where are the vehicles in there? How's that going to work?
It will be kind of a constrained site for this contractor.
Yeah.
It will be, for sure. We have our limits set at each end. I'm not sure which end you're house is at. I think we have
Street.
our main staging. Sorry?
I'm on Beaver Street, second house.
Oh, okay. You're on what would that be? The east side of the Brook?
I'm not good with east or west. I'm on Beaver Street, towards Lakeview.
You're not on Martin Street. You're on Beaver Street.
No, sir. No.
Gotcha. Okay. The most of the staging area will be done on Martin Street side.
Yeah, I kind of thought that would be. So I'm not going to have to worry about anything happening because, you get so nervous after everything we had with the flood and everything that was done there that you are not going to hurt any of that, all that work that was done.
No, ma'am.
Awesome.
Okay, Sheila, could we have your name and address, please, for our minutes?
Sure. Sheila Colarusso, 40 Beaver.
Thank you. I'm going to go to back to the commission now to find out
and
what...
one more. I have one more question. So with that means the floodgate, I call it a floodgate. I don't know what it's called. You know how they have them on each of our side after that flood? That will not be changed at all.
No, ma'am.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to continue with the commission now to see what other questions they may have, and then there will be an opportunity for the public to ask questions again. Bill?
Yeah, so circling back, I think, actually Sheila just asked the question I was gonna ask, which is I knew there was a floodgate in proximity to the bridge, and I just wanted to get a sense what impact, if any, the project was gonna have on the floodgate. And my understanding from the response is that it's got no impact whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess I would just point out, if we could, as Madam Chair pointed out, let the commission ask their questions first, and then we'll open up the public hearing for the comment. So we just need to procedurally make sure we're following that protocol so we can capture comments in minutes. Thank you.
I just want to jump in. I say that I'm in full support of this project. The city's definitely taken its liberties in finding a way to reduce the costs as much as possible, but it's critical that we do resume transportation over this bridge for both, public transportation and public safety. It seems like a great set of plans to me. I'm happy with them.
Great to hear. Thank you.
I agree with Brad. Awesome plans. I think a lot of the big things for us are, the floating silt fence and the silt sock that you guys have shown, which is great. Just keep those clean and keep those up, and just try to avoid any erosion into both the waterways that are there. And I'm sure you'll find a qualified contractor to do such. So.
Yep. And we will. I think this may go without saying, but the first step of the project is erosion control silt fence. So we will, once that's in place, we'll reach out and have the commission come view those controls and make sure that the commission is in agreement with how everything's set up.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Another question. Ooh, I'm sorry. Whenever I can.
Just
Let's have the commission finish their
I
questioning,
apologize.
please, Sheila.
I'm sorry.
I agree with everyone. I think this is a great project. I'd like to see it move forward as quickly as possible, just like everyone else. So, anyone else from the board?
Yeah, I mean, I agree the same way. It's gonna be good to finally get this street open after a few years, a couple of years as it is. But with the substructure saying, I mean, there's gonna be even less, the bank's not gonna be disturbed as much as it would have been if we had to replace that. And then the superstructure coming in prefabbed, I mean, there's not as much coming in and work being done there. So I think it's a good project, and I'm excited to see it finished.
And I just have one follow-up question. Assuming the project's approved, what's the timeline from start to finish in completing this project?
It would depend on when we get the process through procurement and all those steps. My thought would be a single construction season. So you're looking at April through November.
Thank
I think this is definitely an upgrade for this particular bridge. I like the fact that there's sidewalks on both sides. There are quite a few, I suspect, university students that maybe walk over that bridge when it's possible to do so. I'd like to, at this time, open up the comments to the general public. If there's anyone else, either online or in person here, that would like to ask a question or make a comment about the Beaver Brook Bridge over Beaver Street and Martin Street.
So, Sheila again. So it sounds like, would that be April to November of 2022, 2023, or?
The goal would be 2022. So yeah, depending on getting, again, through the procurement process, getting a contractor lined up, and getting everything in order in time for that construction season.
So my, this is me just, again, trying to understand. So the envelope that said Tech isn't the contractor, that's a Lowell thing?
Tech is TEC. We're the engineering firm that's doing the design work. Once we're done, we put together the package that the contractors will bid on, and then the low bidder gets the project, and then they're the contractor.
So Lowell hires Tech as their engineering consultant?
Correct, yes.
All right, cool.
Okay, any more questions from the commission? Do we have a motion?
I'll offer a motion. I think this is a great project, so I'll offer a motion to approve this project in issuing a City of Lowell Standard Order of Conditions.
Okay, I'll hold that motion on the table here for a moment, and we probably should close the public hearing first. Do we have a motion?
I appreciate everything that you guys had today. This was very nice.
Thank you, Sheila.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
She just
I said I
She gave us a
appreciated
thumbs
that
up.
you guys had
Oh,
this
okay.
because I live on this street and I think it's cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Okay, motion made, seconded by
I'll second it.
Perry. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. We now have a motion to issue a Lowell Standard Order of Conditions for this particular project. Do we have a second?
Second?
Was that Brad?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion about the motion to issue an order? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The order's issued, and the applicant can go forward as soon as they have a contractor in place. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Okay, next on our agenda is a request for an extension of an order of conditions that we issued in 2018, DEP file number 206787. This is the Markley Group at 2 Prince Avenue, 1 Markley Way, and they're requesting another 3 years to finish up their project. Someone familiar behind the mask here?
Yeah, I was doing this the old-fashioned way with boards and showing up here, so it's kind of neat being at a public hearing again. My name is Theo Kindermans. I am representing the Markley Group here today. I work for Stantec. We're a consulting firm from Boston, and we've been doing all the work here. And we've been here before, as you alluded to, Madam Chair, for the original order of conditions. Then we got that order. We got a certificate of compliance on that order because it was about to run out. Got a new order of conditions in 2018. Then in 2020, we were here for an amendment to that order of conditions for repair on the Brook, on the wall of the Brook. That repair has happened. And the Markley Group has been, over the last several years, consistently been working on the building, but it's a big site, it's a big building, and we've been sort of working our way around the site. We've had quite a bit of changes last summer, on the backside of the building for some water tanks, so far away from the resource area, not impacting any of the impervious areas. So we did a lot of work there, and now we're slowly. I have these boards here. This is the approved plan. This is the main building, the building that's still proposed. These two have been built, and we've been working our way around the site here. Last year we focused mainly on this with 2 water tanks here that almost are operational. And then this yard has now been completed. It's a generator yard. Only 2 generators in a different configuration. 2 generators have been placed with a smaller house generator. All the rest has been gravelled or covered with crushed stone as per order of conditions. And then eventually more equipment will be placed as the need arises. All of this work up front has not happened yet. That's hopefully in the cards for next year, and potentially we're not quite sure whether this is the exact same configuration, whether this building comes, but I'm expecting almost to be back here next year with a minor modification for some work here. When the original plan got approved, we had 2 stormwater systems on the ground. This one has been built. There is one still to be built in here, and so that's still coming. Anyway, that's where we're at. We're running. Our order of conditions runs out in a week or 2. And so we are kindly requesting an extension on that order.
Okay. I did have some curiosity about one of our special conditions, which mentioned something about a landscaping project or something being delineated, or I can't remember the exact word, in the first year of the order, and I don't know if you remember what the situation was with that. Was that the landscaping, or was that something else?
I'm not sure what you're. The landscape all along the Brook here has been completed. Mm-hmm. We're on the edge of the existing parking area, which is once eventually some of this asphalt is being pulled back, but there is a really dense screen along the Brook. You know, anywhere on site, you won't be able. You don't see the water. You don't see anything. There's a big fence on the wall on the Brook. You don't see that fence. It's very heavily landscaped with a mix of evergreens.
Okay, I just wondered if there was something that we had outstanding before we extended it for another 3 years. So
I don't think so. We're just chipping away and the landscaping as much as we can. This being all going to be redone and regraded, we can't do. We did this. There is a little basin here, as much as we can do. That's going to be expanded. There is some landscape around that basin, again, as much as we can do before we pull everything back. But it's actually all of this landscape on the perimeter is done.
So it's still a work in progress along the.
Oh, yeah, no, it's been a continuous work in progress, but yeah.
Okay, well, I certainly wouldn't want to see you stop work in the middle of whatever it is you hope to accomplish here, so other questions? Anybody from the public have questions on this particular proposal to extend their order of condition?
Hi, this is Jake. I'm on the south side of the property. So I was actually before you guys, I want to say it was in 2018 for the extension of the order of conditions. I was a little surprised that this is going to be going on for 3 more years. It has now been 6 years that we've been dealing with this in our neighborhood. You know, I realize that they're almost finally done the south side of the property, which is great. You know, I just wanted to share with you guys what the current plans actually look like. I know Patio has some older plans before you, but there was a site plan change that was done last year to include 2 tanks down here in the lower right-hand corner. I'm down a little bit further. My property's down here. You know, and I've been before you guys before basically saying about these 4 generators that they were never in the original plans when they first came to town. The site constantly changes, and it does, and so I wouldn't be surprised if Patio is back before you again with more changes. But as you can see, the generator yard on the north side, the configurations have changed. The fuel tanks rather, have been taken out of the equation, and they're going underneath, so I think that's a positive. I just don't know when all of this is supposed to be completed, and it's been a long run for us in the neighborhood. You know, once they moved to the southeast corner of the property, they actually aggravated more neighbors in this side of the property. And one up here, I don't know if she still cares or not, but had concerns about the number of generators up there. I really don't, because that's where they were supposed to be originally. I'm just wondering when this is going to be completed so that these generators down here, the last 2 that they installed that are within 100 feet of my house, are not turned on.
Teo, did you get that question?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think what I heard was that the bottom line is how much more is this project going to, you know, what's the duration of the project, you know, beyond this point, because we've had 2 extensions of the order of conditions, you know, and so I think the neighbor is saying, you know, it's been 6 years, how many more years? And I think the interest was, I think I don't have the map up anymore, but where the existing, at the bottom of the figure, the existing generators, I think those proposed to be removed. Yeah.
No, these are brand new. They came in day one. These 2 were the first 2 placed, then those 2 were placed not that long.
And were those in the original plan, or were those, okay?
Yeah, I remember that discussion at the hearing.
About the noise.
About them being close to a residential area. Are they in some way shielded for noise?
Yeah, actually, currently, some of the work that's being done currently in, actually, I was out here today, and pretty much in the back of Jake's house here. We're installing a 10-foot high solid fence, black solid fence, just for that purpose. Tomorrow morning, there's going to be some, actually, we'll deliver some modified building plans there as well. So I think that it's ongoing, and as demand grows for space in this building, more equipment is going to be placed.
So this is a data processing center from what I recall, right? I mean, that's what it's, so as cloud storage increases and the demand for that increases, the energy input's going to be increased. And so I guess that leads to the question maybe that the neighbor was asked, you know, how many more generators are you looking to potentially go above and beyond the original plans to accommodate the increased capacity that might come forward with the growth of this facility?
Hi, this is Luke Kipfer with Markley Group. Sorry to interrupt Teo, but I could probably better answer, Jake's question on our timeline and growth projections for the facility. This last bit of site work that we have to complete, I think Teo can point it out, but it's really that main parking lot that's in front of what we call Building 1. But as you pointed out, there's the cloud computing industry as a whole is a very dynamic industry. So the actual equipment that we put in, we're never going to exceed what we're showing on the site plan now. And there's a good chance that we'll never put that much equipment in. But a lot of it is very dependent on tenant leasing and the specific demands of that customer that moves into the building. So we have 3 of the planned generators going in that yard. It's likely going to be, 1 or 2 generators a year added based off of what we're seeing for leasing and roll. But we will never exceed the amount of generators that are currently shown on the plan now.
So maybe then with that, could you give a projection of how much longer you think this project's going to be, ongoing before you request a certificate of compliance for completion of the work with as-built plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So the major site work will be completed in approximately 2 years. That's, finishing the main parking lot and that other underground retention area that Teo pointed out, other landscaping along the north side, fencing along the north side. There's some other areas to clean up. After that, we're going to have these equipment yards built. It won't be heavy construction. It will just be, equipment coming in to build an equipment, to build a mechanical pad and then setting the unit on top of it. But it won't be any of this heavy civil site work that we're still undergoing now.
All right, thank you. Jake, does that answer your question?
It does. I mean, I know that they've, tried to work with some of us neighbors, especially after the water tanks were installed last year to the south side. My biggest thing wasn't, at the time, a lot of people kind of went with the noise thing. It was more the smoke issue. We're still currently working with the smoke issue from these 2 generators that are online here. I don't know if you can see my mouse moving back and forth, but these 2 haven't come on yet, and that's kind of been where my concern has been, because they do long generator burns about once a year to make sure that apparently, I don't know if it's just to burn the fuel out of them, I don't know, but, or when they have to take the building off the power grid to do upgrades, which when they first came to town, they were only feeding off of 1 power grid or 1 substation. Now I believe they have 3 or possibly 4. So that's stopping our power issues. We used to lose power quite frequently when they came to town, and those generators would come on a lot more. But it's just the fact that the original site plan when they first came in before the planning board never had them there. And it's been a bone of contention of mine for the whole time. And that's why I'm like, this situation with them, their famous last words of the previous person, Louis Lepac, was the situation is fluid. And it has been very fluid in the last 3 years since they were before you. We have water tanks now where there were none. We have coolant towers where there were none. So I'm just like, I still have this equipment well over here by me. I don't know what else they could possibly put in there. But I wouldn't put it past them to stick something else in there. And I know that's not in your purview because you guys are up over on the north side. I'm just saying, bears watching. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Are there any other concerns? Anyone else from online here that would like to voice a concern or ask a question? Yes, Peter.
Jake, could we just have you state your last name and your address for the record, please?
Sure, it's Fortes, Fortes, and it's 36 Iowa Street in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, I would be inclined to ask for motion to extend.
Just to clarify, is the request for another 3 years? All right. I will offer a motion to issue a 3-year extension to the existing order of conditions for this project.
Motion made. Is there a second?
I'm actually going to recuse myself from this vote. I don't know if I should have said that earlier, but I feel like I don't know enough about this project.
I didn't hear that.
I'm going to recuse myself from this vote.
Oh, okay, good. Not good, but.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Perry. Is there any further discussion? Weston has recused himself from voting on this. Is that considered an abstention, I presume, since you listened to the, can we have all those in favor, say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we had at least 4. And all those opposed? And all those abstaining? Okay. Thank you.
Hopefully this is the last time, right? Yeah. All right, thanks.
Thanks for coming in.
Just so the commissioners know, Brad had to leave, so we had 4 on that vote, but if anybody needs to recuse themselves for anything else, just give me a heads up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was
Oh, no, that's fine.
a little overwhelmed by that. I haven't been here for the previous hearing, so I didn't want to put my 2 cents in.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, on our agenda now, we have a request for a minor modification of, I believe this was an order of conditions. I don't have the number here. It's, the address is either 137 or 141 Cashin Street. It's a newly constructed house, and the applicant now would like to construct a patio and fix up a lawn area in the front. The applicant is Amanda Ho. Is there anyone here to speak for this? Could you identify yourself, please, and tell us what the project entails?
Sure. Hi. I'm Ken Dickinson, registered landscape architect with Carpenter Costin, Danvers, Massachusetts. And I contacted Mr. Ricker, approximately a month ago, or a little bit longer than that, as our client, Amanda Ho, had requested. They recently purchased their house. It's a newly constructed house, from what I understand, and they're looking to, the yard was not left in great condition, so they're looking to basically finish off their landscape, so it's reasonable for usage, and their outdoor deck is fairly small, and they wanted to have a little bit extra area to be able to do some outdoor dining safely. So they're looking to have this patio installed at the foot of their steps to the deck. So it's basically just an extension of that outdoor room per se. All the work that's proposed is within the existing disturbed area beyond the top of the bank. It is within the 100-foot buffer, and that's why I'm here today. And we're looking to do a planted slope just on the very perimeter of the patio to help reduce any runoff from it. It's a fairly modest patio. It's under 300 square feet in size. So it's not really going to, the whole lot is like, I think, an acre and a half, or 50,000 square feet approximately. So it's a very large lot for Lowell. And the wetland, or the resort, or the actual wetland itself is substantially downslope. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this property that was before you back in, I believe, in the February meeting, early February time frame for another minor modification request by Land Tech Consultants of Westford. We're just here to basically finish off the landscape. So the only other thing I didn't cover is that between the patio and the street, we'll be going over a lawn that's already been partially established. It's already been hydroseeded, and it wasn't done very well, so it needs to be done again. The erosion controls are also substantially in place. There is silt fence out there in addition to either a silt sock or hay bales that are completely staked in and appear to have been there for at least a year and in good condition. All the way around down the private driveway that extends beyond Cashin Street itself. It's a corner, essentially it's a corner lot. So I could, there's also a wetland buffer sign that's been installed, and that will stay in place as well. So the applicant wants to, follow the regulations, and I could answer any other questions that you may have about this project.
Okay, so what I took from the application for the modification was that the silt fence that we asked to be placed, I believe at the 50-foot, most of it's at the 50-foot line from, is it from the wetland or from the house? Anyway, we would want that silt fence to stay in the same location that it's in to ensure that any work that you're proposing would be in the area that we already agreed could be disturbed to some extent, rather than on the other side of the silt fence where we wanted the nothing to be disturbed. At least that's the way I recall it. My question would be if, when you're talking about leveling and building a planter and making a patio, does this involve bringing in any type of additional fill?
I would say that it'd be minor in nature. I mean, obviously, when you build a patio, you want the base to be compacted properly, so you have to bring in compacted gravel and stone dust to achieve that. So there is some, your normal construction for a patio that's built out of concrete unit pavers.
Right.
So
But the elevation would be at the same elevation that the
Correct.
ground is at now?
it basically, we have to extend out the slope a little bit to achieve a cross slope that's reasonable for a patio, which would be, roughly 2 to 3% cross pitch. So we are, there's maybe a foot of fill roughly in that area, and that's why we're increasing the slope a bit, but we're taking up the lawn and we're replacing it with a planting bed with shrubs that has mulch. So in essence, it's going to slow down any runoff that would come off of this small patio. And that happens just within, I don't think the planting bed is much more than 6 to 8 feet in width around the perimeter. And then the rest of it will be lawn. We need to bring in a little bit of fill in some areas where there's been some disturbance. It's a little slightly undulating, and there's a pit of sorts that's about 2 feet deep between the silt fence and the street. There's actually some grade too beyond that that actually goes up and it berms up naturally prior to the top of the bank, and all that will, anything that's within the silt fence and erosion control barriers will stay in place. We're not modifying any grade beyond that. I don't intend to touch that. It will be repaired as necessary, but I don't even anticipate that we'll need to do that. We're currently working on another project that is basically right up against the swamp, and with the erosion control barriers already in place, and in another town in Massachusetts. It's 180 linear feet of wall. There's quite a bit of disturbance in the backyard, but we've kept everything intact. So we're a design-build landscape construction company. So we'll be, not only am I designing it, but I'm also managing the construction of the project.
So the slope will not be any different than it is now beyond the silt fence?
Correct. Yep. The existing slope remains in place. There is some woodland there that's currently has not been disturbed, other than the fact that there is quite a bit of poison ivy, say, along that edge. But, you know, so there's some invasives that are present along that periphery, but we do not intend to go beyond the silt fence. Maybe with the client did express a concern to remove some invasive vines so that the native vegetation is not further, you know, choked out by that. That would be the only thing, basically. That would be
beyond the silt fence, even for the removal of invasives, we would want to know what was planned. That isn't part of this request. We don't expect anything happening beyond the silt fence, according to your request tonight.
That's correct.
Is it possible that you would be digging out a bit of the natural soil, and that could perhaps be used to even out the lawn area rather than bringing in new soil?
There isn't, no, the grade needs to be brought up a bit, and we don't want to be, we need to modify existing soil. We'd have to dig into the embankment and probably dig into the root system of the vegetation. That's part of the buffer, and I don't see that being the right thing to do. The soils should be imported. And we typically get our soil from a place called AgriSource in Amesbury, and it's very organic in nature and very fine, very finely sifted topsoil that's good for lawns and planting.
And what thickness would that topping be?
Well, in the planting areas, would be bringing in at least 6 inches of that, you know, to be able to cover the root ball sufficiently. As your normal, you know, shrub planting detail would require, or slightly deeper. The lawns generally would have 3 to 4 inches at a minimum, and would be mixed in with the existing soil.
And this is going to be fairly flat when you're done, so that you don't expect erosion down the slope?
That's correct. The grades that are there are gentle in nature. Some may say that, you know, Cashin Street, just the normal person walking down the street would say it's almost flat as a pancake, and except with the exception of a little bit of slope where the private drive is. But the grade change across the yard isn't more than a foot or 2. It's the only part that, you know, like I said, right on the periphery, there's a little bit of a hump. That hump is approximately 3 to 4 feet in height, and that will remain in place beyond the, you know, the silt fence, so there's no additional disturbance. There's no grading beyond the silt fence.
Questions from the board?
I think this is pretty straightforward.
Is that a motion, Wes?
I'll make a motion to approve this as a minor modification.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. As far as discussion, I'd like to just re-emphasize that I don't expect any disturbance beyond the silt fence as it was placed originally. And certainly, any disturbed soil is going to need to be stabilized as soon as possible to avoid any washing down the slope into the wetland. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
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 Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes, and the minor modification is approved. That will, I'm not sure how that's handled, as a separate document or added to the original, but I think the minutes and the tape of the meeting are going to be clear enough as to what we discussed. So maybe we can get a letter out to the effect of what was agreed upon and how the vote went.
I would think too that since this was a notice of intent, the quote-unquote as-built plans when the project's done and their applicants requesting the certificate of compliance, then we can cross-reference the notes, because obviously what's going to be shown on the final plans is different than what was put forth in the notice of intent, right?
Yeah, that's how I understand it. I haven't, seen a minor modification come up for the Conservation Commission yet, so I'll touch base with the other planners tomorrow, but I think you hit the nail on the head.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for coming in. I guess you'll get some kind of paperwork as soon as the office can generate that. And probably this week, Peter? Yeah. We'll mail something out to the applicant. So your request for the modification is approved with keeping in mind the discussion that we've had tonight as far as the extent of the alteration to the plans. Did you have any other questions?
I did have one, because it's just popping in my head now, that the silt fence is currently up for the entire lot, and the lot does extend in the rear yard and to the opposite side, where they're not, the lawn is currently established, and we're not doing any work. It's beyond our limit of work. Can the applicant actually take down that portion of the silt fence at this point in time? If it's upslope and it's not going to affect.
We do have it on the original plan where the location should be, and you'll need to put that back before you start work on the modification.
I think he's saying the area that there's currently a stabilized area, and you would like to remove that silt fence from the.
Correct. The applicant requested
area
to
here,
remove
we say,
to
where
see
it's
if they can
all done,
remove the silt
soil.
fence
They would maintain the silt fence
in the rear
here
yard.
with a pad.
This is where they want to make the lawn and remove.
But they've done the lawn, right? I mean, what part of the,
He's talking about flattening this out. This is the whole area they're going to be working on.
Well,
And then
this
the
is the main
patio
area.
here. This is the patio, the planter.
where on the plan are you talking about potentially removing the,
It would be over near the dry well, per se.
the what?
There's a new location of a dry well that was beyond the garage on that, no. Correct. Yes, it would- Correct, yes. Correct. Yeah, it keeps on going in that direction.
The area that's curved, the straight areas, no trouble, the area that's curved and within, the area of the patio where it's going to be built needs to remain in place.
Yeah, he knows that, I think.
That's correct. We wouldn't disturb the silt fence, say, within
It's just where,
20 feet of the patio.
Up at like a 60-degree angle from the curve off the figure is what you're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's just this.
Yeah,
I don't see a problem with that.
yeah. Okay, so,
If it's
Yeah.
an issue, we
I
can
don't see
create
a
it.
problem.
If that's fully stabilized to your professional opinion, then yeah,
Absolutely.
take that out.
Yeah, it looks like it's been, I don't think there's been any disturbance or grading back there since it was hydro season, I would guess in the spring.
And we've had a wet summer, so I'm sure the grass has grown. So,
Correct, and there's no, it's almost like there's a terrace up there. It is very, or tabletop, it is quite flat around this house.
yeah, if it's stabilized and it's not down slope from any new work that's happening, you can take it out.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks for the clarification on that matter, and thanks for the decision this evening. I appreciate the board's assistance.
Thank you.
thank you for coming in. Good
Thanks.
luck with your project.
Oh, thanks, yeah. We probably won't be breaking ground for a couple of weeks per se, and the duration of the project should only take a couple of weeks, so we hope that there's some cover is well established before the end of the growing season, and the erosion controls will remain in place until everything's established for the entire project.
Great. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank
You too.
You too.
Night. Next, we have a request for determination of applicability sent in by Salah Tech, 155 Woodward Avenue. This is a request to construct a deck with a roof to the rear of the building, of the house. And they're within the 100-foot buffer of a wetland, which I believe is Flaggy Meadow. Good evening.
My name is Rodrigo Caval. So I have the proposal to build a 12 feet by 30 feet deck with a roof, 6 feet above ground, like 100 feet.
Excuse me, can I have you give your name for the record?
Rodrigo Caval.
Thank you.
Yes. So the proposal is to build a deck 12 feet by 30 feet, 6 feet above ground, and it's 100 feet from the protect wetland.
Okay. What is going to be holding up this deck?
Oh, we're gonna do the footings, and then we're gonna put 6 by 6 posts.
Pressure treated?
And then pressure treated. We're gonna attach to the house, and then in the front of the deck we're gonna put 5, 6 posts to hold the deck.
Okay. And the dimensions again are what?
12 feet by 30 feet.
12 by 30.
Yeah.
And is it going to be screening or something around the edge?
No,
Or
just
just
railings.
open?
Yeah.
But with a roof?
Yes, with the roof. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I have a concern about this particular area. Even though it's within 100 feet of the wetland, it's fairly well separated from it. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I agree. I don't have a concern.
Anybody on our Zoom call here want to ask a question or make a comment?
I have no concerns. I think it's going to be an okay project. I guess their neighbor has a similar deck just about the same distance away. So I think we could go ahead and approve it.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this project.
-3, perhaps?
-3 determination.
Okay, what that means is that it's within the resource area, but it's not going to affect the resource negatively. So,
So I'll second that motion.
motion made by Kevin, seconded by Bill. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and your motion has been approved. Your request has been approved for the deck. And, when you're done, just give the office a call and somebody will come out and look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
We have minutes from the August 11th meeting, which was a fairly short meeting, if I recall.
Yep.
The minutes were concise. I have no comments. I'm fine with them.
Nice.
Okay, good job to whoever did those minutes.
I'll make a to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion made to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
By Weston, seconded by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. We have anything else on the agenda? No? Anything anyone needs to bring up before the board, before adjournment?
Any cleanup days, Brad?
He's not on, but they are doing the bleachery on Saturday, I believe. They're going to be meeting on Lawrence Street. Not sure of the name of the park, but you can go check out the Lowell Litter Crew's page on Facebook for all the info. It should be 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Okay, still cleanup to be done, that's for sure. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Made by Bill, second by Weston. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you and good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Have a good commute.